for staying with us. It's still the conversation on Lagos television. And as you know it, on this segment, we talk about Lagos and everything that makes Lagos tick. Today is so special. It is really, really special to Lagos State as a whole. And of course, very special to me, very special to Lagos television. Lagos is a city that has changed over time, over the decades in population, infrastructure, economy, politics, and the way it is governed. And few people have had the opportunity to observe that transformation as closely as our guest today. He has been part of Lagos public life for generations, from his early exposure to community leadership and politics through elected office and public service to his present role as chairman of a Lagos State Governance Advisory Council. Today, we look beyond politics as a contest for power. We examine how Lagos has been governed, what has worked, what has changed, and what remains unresolved, and what the future of governance in Lagos should look like. It's a pleasure to welcome Prince Dr. Honorable Tajudeen Oluyole Olusi, OON-MON. He's also the current president of Yoruba Leaders of Thoughts. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sir, before we talk about government, politics, policies, what does Lagos really mean to you as a person? Someone who has seen Lagos over the years for almost 8 decades. What does it mean to you?
To me, Lagos is very important in the sense that's the place of my birth. That is my home. That is my source.
Okay.
And coincidentally, I have lived most of my life in Lagos. I am close to my 98th birthday.
Yeah.
And I have the privilege of being part of the people that have served to improve Lagos. And so Lagos is very important to me, my home, the place of my birth.
Lagos is your home. Lagos is the home for all. And again, congratulations, because you mentioned your 90th birthday coming up soon. So let's look at governance right now and for you. You are a prince who have, watched governance and politics from your childhood days, from the days where you used to sit at your father's seat and listen to disputes, listen to politics and how matters are being run from your little age. Like you to take us back that experience and tell us how you can, relate it to what we have today.
Well, Lagos has been progressing. Lagos was at one time the capital of Nigeria.
Yes.
And don't forget, because of their experience, because of what people have gained from Lagos, they regard Lagos as the home of wisdom. And that is why Lagos is called Eko Akete Ile Ogbon. And so therefore, many Nigerians have the privilege of living in Lagos, have the privilege, the opportunity of coming to Lagos, either to work as civil servants, either to trade as traders, business people, and people have had the opportunity of making of gaining, of
From
gaining,
Lagos.
and going back to their home, their home, their own origin, to improve the place.
From what they have learned from Lagos.
From what they have gained from Lagos. And that has been a continuous progress from since the advent of the British, or even since the time I have grown up as a young boy till today.
Okay, talking about you as a young man, I'm glad you brought that up. You became politically active and also won an election at the age of 26. What could have drawn your attention to politics at that very young age?
Well, coincidentally, most people do not take note that a number of people who were born in the palaces of urbans or in the residence of administrators of the community, they had the opportunity, from the very, very beginning to get involved in administration, to get involved in settling quarrels, to listen to history. And so therefore, definitely this will affect or influence them. In my own case, my father, a number of Lagos, had the opportunity, regular meeting of chiefs, regular meeting with market people, receiving visitors such as priests and alvas, and we were part of this. And so therefore, we want to be part of it continuously. And in the case of in politics, in my own case, while I was growing up, at a time maybe in the 50s, particularly in the 50s, the then Oba of Lagos, the Oba of Lagos, Oba Mosendeku Adeniji Adele, established a political organization that was called Area Council. And our palace at Ogakeani was made the headquarters for the Ologbo constituency.
Okay.
And regular meetings were held in the compound, and we were the errand boys who will arrange chairs and listen to discussions. This definitely had some influence.
And that will take me to the question now, though. How important was the role of traditional rulers in governance in Lagos at that time?
At that time, you see, Lagos was divided into areas. For example, you have the Ekpetedo community.
Okay.
And in Ekpetedo, you have a number of chiefs. You have Chief Oshodi there. You have Chief Eti at Okepopo. And you see, normally people hold meetings, communal meetings, in the palaces of the chiefs.
Okay.
And you have them all over Lagos. In our own area, you have Chief Modile, you have Chief Onito Olo, you have Chief Kosoko's Palace at Tereko, and you also have our own Olusi. And these were regular places of holding meetings, and then the chiefs, get involved in settlement of disputes. I remember our mother, Alaja Magaji, will regularly meet with Chief Kosoko on a number of occasions. I would be available, listening to discussions and all this, So the traditional chiefs take, active part in the administration
of Lagos.
of the community.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So from the traditional rulers, we are moving to politics proper. And, I found out that you entered politics through the Action Group, which was under the influence of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. What exactly endeared you to that particular party? Was it about the ideology or was it about the man?
You say, well, Lagos, at the time that we are going up, we were at the secondary school, and we had the opportunity of being members of boys' clubs. The colonial administration established all over Lagos, you have boys' club. In our own place, you have Alakoro Boys Club, which I was a member.
Is that where you were the secretary?
At one time, I was the secretary.
Yeah.
Later, I became the chairman.
The chairman. Okay.
As chairman, we call ourselves premier because we are trying to emulate. We had 3 premiers at the country at that time. Chief Awolowo was premier of Western Region. You have Sir Modu Bello as premier of the Northern Region, and Dr. Unamid Azikwe, as premier of the Eastern Region. So we as young men, looking at them, reading about them in the news and papers, and listening to the radio, will now say we are premier of Alakoro and Boys Club, or you are premier of And this was, honestly, part of the initial stage. And we later got involved in the affairs such as Keep Lagos Clean. And this was an organization established by the government all over Lagos. And when we talk of Lagos, Lagos of that time extended up to Agege, So this organization was established to reduce refuse, to make sure that the community is cleansed. And we as Boys Club, do engage, in most of these things. And don't forget that at school, we also learn about governance. At that time, British Constitution was part of the subjects that we take, at school. And so all this, get you involved in governance. And early in the 1950, you had maybe the first popular town council election, when the office of mayor was established, and that election was held. There were campaigns and all this, and that brought the younger people closely connected with party politics and conduct of elections. Conduct of election.
Okay, as I would say you're such a man honored by God. You're so privileged that you have lived through the First Republic, military coups, the Second Republic, June 12, and now the return to democracy. At which point did you become most worried, about Nigeria, Lagos, and of course Nigeria as a whole?
Well, you see, it's really very difficult to really
pinpoint
a particular
time.
But the worry, began particularly maybe in 1966 or so, when you had the first coup.
Nigerian coup, yeah.
We were elected councillors in 1962. That was my first election. And after 3 years, that probably would be 1965 or 66.
3 years after 1965.
We were supposed to have our re-election. And we did have successful re-election. And after about 3 months in office, the military struck, and we were in the council. They spare us a period of about 6 months or a year or so.
Before they
But
was
at
dissolved.
the end of the day, they dissolved all the local government council, and military began to rule.
So how did you feel at that time,
country.
sir?
Well, I was not happy.
Okay.
I was not happy because we were rejoicing that we now have the opportunity of serving our second term in office, and the military came and disrupted everything. But honestly, they themselves now thought that they should bring in the community. So they now establish a caretaker local government council, and they pick a number of us. So I was one of those who was picked, and we had the opportunity of continue to be nominated representative of the people. So indirectly, we continue our role as councillors, So that really minimize, maybe the displeasure of the time, But the thing continued, and the most disturbing was the period of MKO.
June 12.
June 12. I had the opportunity of serving as the chairman of the party in Lagos, and I led Chief Abiola throughout the campaign in Lagos, and we were happy that everything was successful, and maybe when we expect that the power will be handed over to MKO, it doesn't happen, and that brought a lot of pains, a lot of displeasure to most of us. And then it makes people unhappy, makes people unhappy. about the future of democracy in our country.
Looking at democracy in our country today, as at today, right now, do you think Nigerians have learned from the June 12 experience? Because I can see how sad you feel, you know, just recalling that particular era.
Well, you see, democracy in our country is really a big problem. Really a big problem. And I see the democracy that we are, the democracy that we are practicing today.
Today, yeah.
You know, has a number of problems. We need to look at it. We need to review democracy. You know, democracy has a lot of problems, a lot of conflicts.
Very complex.
If I have my way, I would say we should have a reconciliatory democracy. You see, a reconciliatory democracy, a democracy that we will be in a position to talk to ourselves, to look at issues and agree, you know, rather than what we have now. Democracy that we have now is a democracy of conflict, democracy of war, democracy of people wanting to be in government at all cost.
At all cost.
At all cost. And so therefore, I have always told people that before the advent of the white people, our ancestors had what I would call, you know, a reconciliatory democracy. You have the chiefs representing various areas. Take, for example, take Lagos as an example. You have all the chiefs with designated areas. You say Oshodi at Ekwetedo, Ojora of Ijora, and Oniru of Iru, Olojo of Ojo. And these people will come to Igadungan, the palace, every 17th day to deliberate about the affairs of their own. And when these people go back to their respective area, in each areas you have compounds, you have Olori Ebis, you know, and if there are problems, if there are issues, the Ojora will summon all the Olori Ebis in Ijora, and they will deliberate. You don't have to bribe people. You don't have to campaign for people. Once you are Olori Ebi, you are Olori Ebi for that family. And the improvement of that society, the improvement of that family is important to you. But you see, the democracy that we have today in our country is a democracy of war. It's a democracy of a democracy of wanting to succeed at all costs.
Wanting to grab power by all costs.
No, so therefore, I am not particularly happy about this democracy. What we need to continue to talk to people. We need to continue to persuade them. And we need to continue, you know, the journey.
So let's talk about how you saw Lagos, you know, back then when you were a child, and today, it has become and grown or evolved into a mega city. What do you think Lagos, has done, to get it right? That we even read it in the news, we watch it on the news that, look, other people or other executives from other states come to Lagos to copy what is happening in Lagos and going there back to their various states to replicate it. What do you think has gotten Lagos going all these years?
Well, we have to congratulate, all those who have had the opportunity of governing Lagos, all these years. Let us even say within the last 100 years, or within the last 70, 80 years. Lagos has a lot of problems which arose as a result of migration, people coming to Lagos. And let me give you an example. I was born at Okeani. My street is around Alakoro, and that street used to be Egerton Road. That street, that area you also have John Street. I'm giving important street. You also have Datialaja, and you also have Bishop Street. These streets have been named, but you also have Akpongmo Street. And these were streets that were clean. These were streets that we would even want to pick something from the drains because of the cleanliness. But today, if you go to all these areas, hardly can you walk, because the area had been markets, commercial centers, because of migration of people to Lagos. Those who moved to Lagos and turned the city of Lagos to commercial centers, to places where they are making money, are happy, But those of us who are indigenous of these places, we move and see, is this the broad street of our beginning? Is this the broad street of 30 years ago? Is this the Tunumbu Square, that we used to know? And so therefore, and this problem extends all over the state, up to Mushin. When I was at secondary school, my school was at Isolo. One has to travel, in buses from Lagos, Ansarudeen College, Isolo. You travel with buses from Lagos to Idioro, from Idioro to Mushin, from Mushin to Isolo. So therefore, this development, has been growing, and people continue to move, to migrate, to Lagos. And so we have to congratulate, the government, all over. And we also have to congratulate the present governor of Lagos State and the entire governor, but we must also pay our thanks to the federal government headed by our own man,
President.
Senator
Okay.
Ahmad Bola
Mohammed.
Ahmad Tinubu, you know, for the assistance being rendered, you know, to the federal, to the state government, you know, and so therefore, Lagos continue to advance. Lagos continue to grow, but the problems are there.
Surmountable. They are there, but
They are
unsurmountable.
there, but that there are improvements. I had the opportunity of have to be a councillor in 1962. I have been a commissioner in the state. I have also had the opportunity of serving in the National Assembly at one time. And so therefore, one is in a better position or in a good position, you know, to appreciate and to follow the developments. And they are good. We are making it. We are making it.
So
And we need to thank the various heads of
the
government at various periods
in
of
Lagos.
our development.
Yes, sir. I won't let you go without you answering this question. You're now chair of the Governance Advisory Council, which is the GAC. But many people do not fully understand, you know, what GAC, you know, stands for. I'd like you to talk about that now.
Okay, you see, GAC, Governance Advisory.
Some people even call it Governors Advisory Council.
It's
so
governance.
Yeah,
It's
governance. Yes, governance.
Advisory Council. And that council is made up of elderly people, people who are supposed to have retired. Take myself
Retired
as
from active politics?
a case study.
Yeah.
I am close to my 90th birthday.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. And the people will expect me to have commenced my retirement maybe from age of 70. People retire at the age of 60.
60.
And judges are supposed to retire at 70.
70.
And so, therefore, anybody at 70, 80, 90 should have
Be retired, but not tired.
But you see, DAC is a collection of experienced people. You know, some have served in the National Assembly. Some were former governors, former deputy governors, former permanent secretaries, you know, people of varied experience.
Okay.
And they are necessary. And at the initial stage, I was also looking at the idea of having a GAC. But if you look at it, there are areas where GAC is necessary. You know, we need somebody to look at the work of governance.
Okay.
We need somebody who will be able to collect or listen to the complaint and of the generality of the people, and then be able to call attention. And there are times when you have excesses of some people in governance. You know,
So
we
you
should
checks
have
and
an
balances.
agency
Yeah.
that will be able to call and say, let's look at this. And at times there are areas when you have conflict between the legislature and the government,
The executive.
the executive. And they say there's no machinery, you know, in the constitution provided for such a situation. And but we want to thank our leader, the current president of our country, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who came up with the idea of GAC. And I know that a number of other states, you know, have copied,
Are replicating that.
replicating,
Yeah.
you know, the idea of establishing a GAC, you know. And I want to say this publicly, because it's not it's a public. There was a time when you had a conflict, a conflict between the legislature and the executive in Lagos State, and it is the GAC, you know, by the grace of God, which I led, you know, took the opportunity and say, no, a halt must be put into this. And we were able to look at the left and the right and bring the two arms of governance together. You know, we were doing that because GAC is also a creation of the ruling party. So GAC is necessary, and as the names indicate, it's an advisory council for all aspects of governance.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Prince Dr. Tajudeen Oluyole Olusi, Chairman, Lagos Government Advisory Council, President, Yoruba Leaders of Thought, OON-MON. Thank you so much. Our conversation today has reminded us that governance is not simply about who holds political office. It's about the quality of leadership, the strength of institutions, accountability, and continuity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll be right back after this short break.